essentially towards using your emotional intelligence. When we say emotional intelligence, today it's being identified in the world. For a long time, we thought intelligence means just IQ. See, this is not a… IQ means I stand in the queue. Always behind somebody. This is the nature of the intellect. Intellect is always trying to imitate and be one-up. Wanting to be better than somebody is also an imitation of somebody, isn't it? Essentially, we are trying to do a little better than the monkeys. That's evolution. The nature of the intellect is, right now the way it is for most human beings, it is a useless instrument unless there is a bank of information. There is no information. Most people do not know how to use their intellect. Only with information they can use their intellect. This is not the nature of emotional intelligence. It doesn't need any information. It can just embrace everything and know it. It can feel its way through life. It need not stand in a queue. It need not stand behind somebody. It need not try to be better than somebody. It's simply a way of being involved with life, knowing life by involvement, not by dissection. This is the difference between intellect and emotion. Intellect tries to know everything by cutting it open, by dissection. Emotion knows things by embrace, by inclusion. So the sadhana is essentially to heighten your emotional intelligence because it's so much of an easier way of doing things. Essentially, to heighten your emotional intelligence so that your ability to live well is not dependent upon being better than somebody. Your ability to live well is by your own innate nature, not because you're better than somebody. You don't have to prove that you're better than somebody. You don't even have to try to be better than somebody. This is emotional intelligence. There is no hierarchy in this. Once intellect enters this, if you say love, who loves most? There is no such thing. Nobody can decide this. Never ever can anybody wait and say, okay, this person loves more than the other person. There is no such thing. Quantities do not apply to emotional intelligence. When quantities do not apply, the high and low disappear, big and small disappear. Life becomes as it is. Intellect is always trying to set one thing against the other. It is your intellect which has created conflict. It is your emotion which can bring this together. But if emotion follows intellect, emotion will become a deadly conflict. If your intellect follows the emotion, then there would be no conflict, there would be sweetness in the world, there would be wonderful situations in the world. So the sadhana is essentially oriented towards that. It's a simple structure. But if you give yourself, it does miraculous things to you. So dissection will take you to a place where everything will become meaningless. If you apply your intellect to every aspect of your life, you will turn everything into meaningless rubbish. This is what is happening in the life of an intellectual. That everything looks meaningless and rubbish. But if you apply your emotion, everything becomes valuable and beautiful. Every little thing becomes… a blade of grass becomes poetry. Simply a wave of the branch becomes a song. But if you apply your intellect, everything can be reduced to rubbish. Everything becomes no good. If you apply your emotion, everything becomes great.
How to make yourself mentally strong? 1. Focus on the moment. The challenges that come along from time to time are a test of our willingness to stretch and change. The worst thing you can do is to ignore the situation or procrastinate in developing solutions. The challenge is here and the difficulty is now. Focus your energy on the present moment. Don't lose what is right before you. When you focus on the moment, you come to realize where you have the most power to make things. 2. Embrace adversity. Mental strength gives us the ability to see the obstacles in our path as stepping stones. When we encounter struggle, and we all do, we can be inspired by the knowledge that it's not a dead end, but a path to deeper knowledge and understanding. 3. Exercise your mind. Just like your muscles, your mind needs to be exercised to gain strength. Growth and development take consistent work. And if you have not pushed yourself recently, mental strength is built through lots of small wins, maintained through the choices we make every day. To gain stamina, take on a daily task that stretches your mental endurance. 4. Challenge yourself. Albert Einstein once said, "One should not pursue goals that are easily achieved. One must develop an instinct for what one can just barely achieve through one's greatest efforts." When you believe in yourself and your abilities, you often can go beyond the imaginable. 5. Respond positively. You cannot control everything that comes your way, but you are in absolute control of how you react to everything that comes your way. What happens to you is important, but not as important as your response. Incredible progress can happen in your life and leadership when you take control of your reactions. 6. Be mindful. Mindfulness means taking control of your focus and being intentional about what you give your attention to. Whether it's an emotion, a thought, a belief, an impulse. Mindfulness calls us to approaching everything with a courteous, non-judgmental, open, and accepting attitude. To be the most resilient and mentally strong, make the time to be mindful so you can focus on what you truly want. 7. Don't be defeated by fear. To be resilient and mentally strong means knowing how to deal with fear. When you enter frightening situations with the awareness that it's an opportunity for you to grow, trust outweighs fear. 8. Be aware of self-talk. We are often so busy worrying about how we talk to others that we sometimes lose track of the way we talk to ourselves. Make a point of being as positive and supportive of yourself as you are of others. Because when times get tough, you have to be able to believe you can make it through. Replace self-doubt with positivity. 9. Rid yourself of can't. When you feel like you can't do something, keep your focus positive. You just have to do it. The mentally strong weed out the words like can't, never, and should, replacing them with can, could, and when. 10. Stumble towards success. Winston Churchill once said, "Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm." Perseverance gives you the ability to face any difficulty, any challenge, any setback without being defeated. It's better to have a lifetime full of small failures that you learn from rather than one filled with the regret of never having tried.